viewers, welcome to CEC lectures. Myself Dr. Preeti Jagmani, I am from Department of Computer Science, Arbit College, University of Delhi. In the previous lecture of this series Programming in Java, we have gone through the topic of strings, and we have spent couple of lectures because that was actually something which is kind of more used in various programs that include basic data types. Now moving further, today's topic is about applets. So applet, when we talk about, is actually it is a kind of a program which is going to be embedded into a web page. So for example, till this point we have made some applications, or we can say we have created many applications which are going to be run on a a kind of a standalone machine. Now Java, as you all are aware, is basically a programming language which is kind of used more into internet programming kind of things. So Java programs also need to be kind of having some functionality that they should travel across the across the internet, or they can be embedded into the web pages. So Java applet is such a Java program which is going to be kind of we can say incorporated, or embedded is the more technical term for that, can be embedded into a web page. So what does it mean by embedding into a web page? So embedding into a web page means it will run inside the web browser. And when I am saying web browser, you all are aware that web browser is something which is working at the client side. So basically your applet is a Java program which is working, or which is being executed at the client side on its browser. So this applet can be embedded in an HTML page using various tags. Now what kind of tags I am talking about, that I will be covering in a short while. I am just giving you the names here. So an applet is embedded in an HTML page either using the applet tag, or using the object tag. These two tags belongs to the HTML, belongs to this hypertext markup language, and with the help of these two tags your applet will be incorporated into an HTML page, or into an HTML file we can say, and then it is going to be hosted on the web server, but it works at the client side. And now situation is, or the question which arises is, how these applets are kind of why these applets are used, because we have done so much of programming in Java till this point and we haven't used this concept of applets. So basically applets are used in order to make the website more dynamic and entertaining. So so many facilities you can use with applets, and those can be incorporated or embedded into HTML, and those HTML is actually all about making websites. So using the applets you can make websites more dynamic and entertaining. Now when we talk about applets, it is going to be different from whatever programs we have made. So till whatever programs we have made, we will name them as applications, and what we are going to do today is about the applets. So these applets is actually, all the applets which we are going to make will be the subclasses. So either it could be a direct subclass, or it could be kind of a hierarchical or indirect subclass I can say of java.applet.applet class. You can see that how this is going to be written specifically. So java.applet.applet. So .applet, the last one A is capital here. So all the applets are subclasses either directly or indirectly of java.applet.applet class. And these one thing which is going to kind of make them differentiate from whatever applications we have created till now is, these applets are not the stand-alone programs. These are the programs which are going to run within a web browser, which are going to run within either a web browser or an applet viewer. So two things, either of the two things is required in order to run an applet. So either it is a web browser or it is an applet viewer. So both the ways we will be looking into how these kind of how these can be implemented, that we will be looking into in a short while. And what is this? So, web browser, the term you understand, very clearly. Now, what about this applet viewer? So, applet viewer is actually, kind of a tool which is there for execution of applets. And how are we going to get that? We do not need to do anything special for that. JDK provides this standard applet viewer tool which is named as applet viewer. Now, one side we have application programs, another side we have applets. So, application programs are basically for the client side, so as your applets are there, but still some more differences lies between these things. And in general, execution of an applet does not begin at main method like what is being done in the application program. So, main method does not exist here, and output of an applet window is not given by system.out.print. So, system.out.print is some such thing or such a command, we can say that this is going to print the output, the textual output of an application of an Java application program onto your kind of we can say command shell or the text based interpreter. But for the applet window, the output is not going to be performed by the system.out.println. Rather than this output will be handled with the help of various AWT methods. Now, what is this AWT method? AWT stands for Abstract Window Toolkit. Now, within this abstract window toolkit, there are so many methods that, for example, if we want to write a string onto the applet viewer, we will be using the function draw string and so on and so forth. So, we have so many methods for within this AWT thing, and which are going to be used while we work with applet. Now, one thing which is very important here is about the usage of applets, that applets are actually not being used nowadays. JDK 9 and the onward versions have deprecated this applet facility and it is no more in use. Now, the question comes up, if it is no more in use, then why are we actually kind of studying this? So, first of all it will be kind of an important concept to learn or to understand, at least if we are interested in learning legacy maintenance. So, in the legacy applications, the applet was kind of a prominent kind of graphical tool which was being used. So, if someone is interested in learning that legacy maintenance, then applets are going to be used. And yes, in academics we actually provide a flavor of these applets so that you as a student, as a student understand that what went on in legacy maintenance, and then definitely we will be covering that what all facilities which we were being provided with the help of applets. After deprecating the applets, how these facilities or how these implementations are carried out now. So, in order to look into both the version, the legacy version and the modern versions, I think we should at least spend a reasonable amount of time, not if not too much, but yes, a reasonable amount of time should be spent in order to look into the applet. So, with this, let us move further. So, applet, as I told you, is basically it is not a standalone program, it is not the application program in which we are going to use a main function or something of that sort. We will be looking into the programs of applet in a short while, but before that let us try to understand what is the life cycle of an applet, and here is a figure regarding that. So, we have in this life cycle of an applet, we have 5 methods. What are these 5 methods? These 5 methods are init, start, paint, stop and destroy. So, we have init as in initialization. This works for the initialization of the applet thing, then it will be started. Then whatever output is to be printed, that will be done with the help of paint method, and then it will stop the execution, maybe kind of a minimization of window or something of that sort. and from the stopping of execution it may go into again into the start state, and then then this start, paint, stop cycle can be repeated as many as number of times, and then finally when your applet is going out of the memory, or it is going to be get completed, no more usage after that, that means a destroy function is being called. So, these are 5 functions, and these 5 functions are actually, if you can see the sequence, this is actual the sequence. So, initialization is done first, then the start method is there, then there will be paint method, and when you want to kind of stop or destroy, when kind of in the next phase. So, first phase was kind of, we can say it is a growing phase. So, initialization, start and paint is there, and when in the shrinking phase, when towards the ending or towards being towards getting ended, so it is going to give us the, it will be handled with the help of 2 methods, one is stop and another one is destroy. Now, these 5 functions will be executed in this similar sequence, but all these 5 functions are having their own kind of different we can say their own different purposes, and obviously syntax is naturally going to be very different. So, we will be looking into into the details of all these methods, and then we will look into a complete program that how these methods are going to be used. So, when we talk about the life cycle of an applet, we can say it is applet is first initialized, then it is started, then it is painted, then it is stopped, and then finally it is destroyed, and in the similar sequence. And if we talk about the characteristics or advantages or disadvantages of applets, with the disclaimer that these applets are not being used in the programming anymore, but advantages of applet says it works on the client side. So, response time is obviously not much much higher, then it is a secured facility, and also it can be executed by browsers running under many platforms. It could be a platform of Linux, or it could be a Mac operating system, or it could be Windows. So, all the browsers running under these platforms will will be able to execute the applet. While if we talk about the drawback, plugin is required at the browser, at the client side, in order to execute applet. That is one of the drawbacks of this applet. Now, in the life cycle we have seen some of the methods. So, when an applet begins, these following methods are called in this particular sequence, that is init, start and paint. As I have told you that in in kind of in the starting phase, or you can say in the growing phase, this will be the sequence, and when it is going to it is going to have an end, or when your applet is going to have an end. So, when an applet is terminated, the following sequence of the method calls takes place, which is first stop and then destroy. So, till this point in the lecture we have understood that what is the what is applet, then we have also seen some differences of applets and the application the normal applications which we did till this point, and then we looked into the life cycle of the applet, and now let us take a kind of a closer look into the life cycle and try to understand all these methods one by one. So, the first method in the life cycle of the applet was the init method, and this init method is actually this the term init comes from the initialization. So, this is actually being called when the your applet is going to be initialized. So, that means naturally this is going to be the first method to be called, and within this method if some variables are to be some variables are to be initialized, that can be done inside this init method. But one thing which you need to be very careful, that this method is called only once during the runtime of the applet. So, whatever the runtime of one particular applet is, this initialization or this init method is going to be called once only. After initialization or after init, the method which is being called is start. Now, this start can be called at the first first instance when the applet is running just after the initialization, or this can be called multiple times. So, why multiple times starting of an applet is being called? The applet may need to be restart after it has been stopped in various situations. So, for examples, when a user leaves a web page and then comes back, the applet resumes its execution at start. So, start can be called multiple times, while the init method is always being called during the whole runtime of a particular applet. Now, init, as I told you, is called once when the first time an applet is loaded, while the start is called each time an applet's HTML document is displayed on screen. So, that is the difference between the start and the init. When we talk about paint, the paint method is called each time an AWT based applet's output must be redrawn. So, AWT, as I told you, is abstract window toolkit. You can say it is it is a toolkit which is having various tools for displaying something graphically on the screen. So, as of now we can go with this concept. So, the paint method is called each time when and applet's output is to be redrawn, and which type of output I am talking about, obviously not the text output, but the AWT based output. Now, this situation can occur for several reasons. So, for example, a window in which the applet is running may be overwritten by another window, and then it could be again then in the next instance it has to be uncovered. So, for example, we are one applet is being displayed in one of the windows, and and at the simultaneous time we are opening another window which is going to take place of the previous window in which the applet is running. So, that time that paint, so whenever that window is uncovered, this paint is going to be kind of, we can say, called again, or an applet window is minimized and then restored. That is also a situation in which your paint is to be called again. And this paint initially is also called when the applet begins execution. So, you have your init method, then the start method, and then there is going to be a paint method which is being called when the applet begins execution. So, whatever the cause, whenever the output, whenever the applet must redraw its output, the paint is to be called, and this paint is the method through which your we can say output is drawn. Now, why I am saying this output is drawn? Because each and everything which is going on here is graphic based. It is based on this AWT thing. It is not kind of a textual thing. Even if we want to write a text onto the applet thing, that is being done with the help of draw string method that we will be covering in our upcoming lectures. So, and this paint method is having one parameter also which is of the type graphics. So, this parameter will contain the context of graphics. Graphics contains is actually describing the environment of or is actually describing the graphical environment in which the applet is running. We will be covering this this parameter into kind of more detail when we look into a complete comprehensive program. And this graphical context which I am talking about is used whenever an output to the applet is required. Now, one particular point which also which is differentiating this paint method from all other methods in the life cycle which are init, start, stop and destroy is this is the only method among all the methods mentioned above which is parameterized. So, this is the only method which is parameterized. And what is the prototype? So, prototype, as I told you, that this is going to take the context of the class graphics as the parameter. So, the whole signature, the whole prototype goes like this. So, this is public void paint. So, this is obviously this is going to be a public method, not returning anything. So, void and the context of graphics is being passed as graphics and the kind of reference variable G. So, where G is an object reference of the class graphics. So, this is going to be the we can say prototype of this paint method. Now, after init there was a start, and then we have seen a paint method. Coming next in the cycle is the stop method. It is called whenever when a web browser leaves the HTML document which is containing the applet, and when it goes to another page. So, for example, a page is being kind of changed with the help of a hyperlink. So, there was an applet which is running on an HTML page, and then there was a hyperlink. That hyperlink is being clicked, and your web browser is not now actually shifting to the another page. So, the stop method is being called with that applet which was running there. So, when stop is called, an applet which is probably running will be kind of we can say suspended for some times, and one can use stop to suspend the threads which do not need to run when an applet is not visible. And then after stopping, these can be restart with the help of the start method if the user returns to the page. So, for you can simply say that there is a page HTML page in which an applet is running, and because of a hyperlink, let us say you are moving on to the another page, the stop method is being called, and when when you come back to the previous old page on which applet was running, the applet will restart with the help of start method, and that is why there was a kind of a loop or a back arrow from stop to the start thing, if you remember the the life cycle of the life cycle figure of the applet which we have seen. After that we have the final method which is about the which is known as destroy. So, the destroy method is called when the environment determines that this particular applet or any applet for that matter needs to be removed completely from memory. That means once this it has completed its cycle, we can say, and at this point one should free up any resources that this applet or any particular applet may be using. But one thing which is very clear is stop method is always called before the destroy method. So, first stop is being called, that means that kind of we can say a running of applet is being stopped, and then finally you will call the destroy method which is going to kind of terminate actually this applet completely, and also free up all the resources which the applet is using. So, that is actually the destroy method, and like the init method, destroy method is also called once in a lifetime, and in between this the applet actually kind of hops on between the start, then the paint method, and then the destroy, and then there is a circle if it is to be kind of restart sorry. So, the start, the paint and the stop method, and then it is a kind of feedback, it is a kind of loop. That means if it is to be started, then after the stop it can be restarted, but after destroy your applet cannot be restarted. So, if we take a summary of this lecture, what we have gone through in this is actually your what is applet, how it is different from the applications which we which we are done till now. Then what is the life cycle of the applet, what all are the methods of that life cycle of the applet, and what is the kind of we can say what are the individual details which are attached with each and every method. So, we have seen initialization init method, then we have seen start. We have also looked into the paint method, then followed by stop and destroy. So, these 5 methods makes a complete life cycle of the applet. Here is a list of references which is being used for the preparation of lecture. I hope you have enjoyed the lecture. More on applets in the upcoming lecture. I will see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Goodbye.